I've spoken to you a couple of times before about whoops, hang on, let's get rid of that. It is in fact raining. Before the nation of England was one, it was in fact three. On the south coast you had the kingdom of Wessex, and Wessex became the uniting force, if you like, and the monarchy now is descended from Wessex. But there were two other kingdoms. The Midlands was ruled by the Mercia kingdom. Not quite sure what happened to the Mercia kingdom. I think Mercia had a bit of a problem because its coastal areas were the areas that were attacked a lot during what's known as Danes' Law, which is when the Danes and the Vikings, that sort of era, they used to come across, and that's the part of the coastline they used to hit. So I think Mercia was wiped out during that sort of confrontations around there. And then there was the Kingdom of Northumbria, which was up here. This is the ancient capital of Northumbria. It's called Bamburgh, and this is Bamburgh Castle. It is immense, and bizarrely enough, this does not look at all like a ruin to me. So, here we are, sort of, on the top of Bamburgh Castle. That's Bamburgh over there, and we get the bus from along there as well. This is the castle. It was originally a royal residence. The royal residence, at that point in time, belonged to the Scottish kings. In fact, this castle is much, much older. This castle seems to have been around a very, very long time ago. Originally taken over by the kings of Northumbria, Oswald being very, very well known, but also Edwin. King Edwin. This was the capital of Northumbria, which at its peak was from where modern Scotland is now, all the way down to Liverpool on one side and Humber on the other. Of course it didn't last. That's where it started. So the castle became part of the Kingdom of Northumbria. I mean, there were several smaller kingdoms first that sort of amalgamated. There was one obviously near Cumbria, there was one near Yorkshire. A lot of the original shires seem to have been almost city-states at this time. We're talking a very long time ago. We're talking about when the Romans pulled out of England. The Romans never made it this far north. Hadrian's Wall, which was built to keep out the Picts, which were the early Scots, and has been used as a sort of old and medieval way of splitting up England and Scotland, lies to the south of here. In fact, everything above Newcastle is considered Scotland at the time I'm sort of talking about, or rather it's part of Northumbria. Now, you had Edwin, who I believe was fighting the battle for the Celtic style Christianity, and Oswald, who succeeded him, I think was fighting for the installation of Christianity as the Roman Catholic Church sort of reconquered the land. after the 600s, and Edwin died, Oswald took over, Romanism reached this part of the world, and everything was perfect until the Vikings came along. And then, just like with Mercia further south, do you know, I think those are the Farne Islands there. I think those are part of the Farne Islands, but I could be wrong. Then, along with parts of Mercia further south, they fell to the Vikings. You know, there was things like the Danes' Law, which was part of the north east side of the country, that was ruled effectively by Danish kings for a long time. It spelt the crumbling of places like Northumbria. And of course, when Northumbria started to fragment, because it was quite large by that point, this was about the only thing left of Northumbria, ruled by a house of nobles. And eventually, when the Scottish throne came into being and things moved on, it became obviously a royal residence for Scotland. Then there was the War of the Roses, and this place was badly damaged during that part, that part of things. It was the Reformation era. All the sort of issues with, you know, early Scot claimants to the throne, and one of the nobles had done very well in, I don't know, defending the sort of coastline around here, and so one of the kings of Scotland gifted him, as one does, Bamburgh Castle here. The fort, by the way, that's the keep, that's the castle keep. In front of it you've got all sorts of buildings which are earlier, I believe. There's a church, but there's nothing left of that now apart from the ground, and this bit, which is sort of a later addition really. It went into the Forsters, the Forster family. The Forsters weren't doing so well, though, a couple of 100 years later, and I can't remember what sort of war it was. It might have been the Civil War, might have just been bankruptcy, but the point was that one of the women of the family married into the Crewe family, and the Crewe family then took it over, and it's been in the Crews ever since, and they are largely responsible, we believe, for rebuilding it, re-establishing it, enlarging it, making it fantastic. And so now it's a tourist attraction. It's managed privately, I believe. There's a little lookout post up there. There's lots of little nooks and crannies, and a lot of the castle is open. A lot of the ground level of the castle is open. The staterooms, and they differ amazingly from the castle that we've seen before, that was sort of quite opulent and quite large, and that was Alnwick Castle. Alnwick inside looks like a royal palace, but it's never been a royal palace. This looks like the house of a noble, and yet it was a royal palace. Because this place is quite a lot older, we're talking buildings on this site, not, well, Anglo-Saxon, 2,000 odd years old, whereas Alnwick is, a millennia younger, and the opulence that was enabled for royalty and nobility at that time was far greater than the opulence here. The opulence here is all on the outside of the building. Its location high above the sea, directly onto the seashore, huge and imposing mounds, you know, a fabulous fort that can probably be seen for about 2 or 3 miles away in most directions. But inside, it's sparse, it's wooden. I mean, it's beautiful, it's very beautiful, but it's nowhere near as opulent. It's not as opulent, it's not as, you know, luxury floors and marble stairways. No, they're stone stairs. It's wooden sort of beams across the ceiling, high vaulted ceilings, but they are wooden nonetheless. It's strange. It is strange. Now it costs quite a bit to get in, £10.50 to get in. I would say because they have opened up the entire lower level. They also have a gift shop. They have a cafeteria which I haven't sampled yet and I might be a bit late for. I would say it's probably worth it. They also have a museum which is over here, which I'm going to look at next, and then the cafeteria before going home, if it's still open. One thing that's sort of spoilt it a little bit is the weather. Had the weather been nice, it would have been nice to get down onto the beach and take pictures of the castle from the beach looking upwards, which is down there. As it was, that's become impossible really with the weather, and we're a bit late now. Here, I hasten to add, is their lighthouse. They have a lighthouse. The upper floors of the keep are mostly open, but of the adjoining bits they're not, because they're actually private apartments for the nobility to this day.